A very good day to you and welcome to the Happiness Society of Kenya's YouTube platform. My name is Jadiel Kabiro. I'm a happiness officer here. Honorable Kiraitu Murungi certified me without going to school. Our conversations on this platform will be all about happiness. There's so much happening in this country currently. Our chief happiness officer has been silent a little bit because there's protests, there's death, there's tough economic times. People are calling for the president of Kenya to resign. Is there a place for happiness in this whole conversation that is happening in this country? Can we even mention the word happiness when people are sad, people have lost their people? Chief Happiness Officer Kiraitu Murungi, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. How are you doing this particular day?
Kabiro, I'm fine. But I think like every other Kenyan, I'm deeply saddened and concerned about the deaths that have occurred in many families in Kenya, about those who have been harmed, hospitalized, and indeed we are all sharing the pain and the suffering which the demonstrators have gone through, but also they carry the pain of the nation. I think other people feel, although they were not able to express their feelings the way the Gen Z have done. I think very many Kenyans were carrying that in their heart, and the Gen Z have spoken for them. Yes.
So can we sit down now and say we're going to talk about happiness despite all this that is happening?
Okay, you are not the first person to ask me about that. You know, these days when I walk around, even at the club, they call me the chief happiness officer. And even yesterday, somebody was asking me, now, can we talk about happiness when there is so much suffering, pain, you know, around us? And I said, of course, it's very difficult. It's not easy to talk about happiness at a time like this. And we all have emotions. It's natural for us to be human, and for us to be sad, for us to be affected by the situation, by the painful environment, you know, around us. So it's very difficult. Actually, they say in terms of extreme scarcity, and high levels of poverty, and those situations like civil war, there is so much suffering that it has become very difficult to talk about happiness.
So from your experience, where is the place of happiness in this conversation?
Yes, but I think there's a place for it. Actually, there's no sadness. You can't talk about happiness. I was saying, like, if the world is blue, then these other colors will not exist. So I think the sadness we have now makes our search for happiness even greater. And I think fundamentally we can ask ourselves why, they are calling them children, but I personally don't think they're children. When I look back, these are people who are 30, 40 years. You know, when we were in our struggle against Moi, we were also 30, 40. Yeah, so those are not children. And listen to them, they are very intelligent. And they are very passionate, they are committed, you know, to what they are doing. But before I lose my trail of thought, why are they in the streets in the first place? What are they looking for?
A better life.
Yeah, people say they are looking, they are unemployed, They are protesting against corruption. Yeah, okay. As you say, they want a better life.
Yeah.
But why do you want a better life? So ultimately, the ultimate end of these demonstrations is to seek happiness, more happiness in our society. It is to improve the welfare of our people so that our people can be happier. It is to see whether we can change the system so that, there are more jobs, there is more money, things which will make our life better. So it's actually a struggle, ultimately. It's a struggle for happiness. That's the way I would look at it from where
you sit.
Yes,
but then someone would ask, how can I get to that place of now thinking about happiness despite what is happening? Is there some a way?
Okay. I think we teach the SPIRE model that a human being complex, we need to look at the spiritual well-being, physical well-being, intellectual, relational, and emotional well-being. Now, sometimes you don't have to wait for the destination for those things to happen. They can happen even in the journey. Even this struggle itself, the participants can enjoy some of those aspects of happiness even during the struggle. For instance, you come to a spiritual well-being. Spiritual well-being just requires you to be passionate, committed, and really emotionally involved in what you are doing. Can you not say these youth are passionate and about bringing change in the country? So we can say they are spiritual. They have a purpose. Their life will find meaning in the struggle. So as far as that element is concerned, when you look at them even being willing to die, it shows the level of commitment. It shows the spirituality in their cause. So I think that element is covered. Then come to the physical. I'm running all over. They are enjoying. Sometimes when the police are not there, you can see them demonstrating, trying to have fun even in the course of the struggle itself. Dancing around and all that. So there is some physical enjoyment. There is some happiness they are getting in the streets. In those, even if there are moments, there are moments when they are enjoying, even in the fight itself. Of course, it gets very sad when the JESU and the police come and shoot some of them. But it's, you cannot just say it is all,
gloomy,
crying and all that. Yeah, crying sometimes will come at the end, but before that, there's a bit of
excitement
and enjoyment. So the struggle is not just one gloomy, dark. I have been in it. I know there are moments, even celebration, of it. Intellectual well-being, yes.
How?
There are some very fundamental issues of governance in the country. There's an intense debate. I think if you followed the debate, which they had, I think about 50,000 people asking and answering very difficult questions.
Or on our social media platforms.
In your social media platforms. The questions like, why do we have to have all this money given to certain offices in this office? In fact, the entire budget itself was analyzed, questioned, and ultimately rejected at intellectual level. So the youth were able to stimulate And then you can also see the, some of the posters. Very poetic. The songs, the chants. So I think there's a lot of intellectual stimulation. There's a lot of debate, within the movement, which promotes, stimulates the mind, opens some of them to new experiences of being out there, exchanging, and some spirit of adventure.
Someone was saying she never thought she could read the Constitution,
Yes.
and now she knows the Constitution.
No, I engaged for 1 hour debate with one of my daughters, who was in the streets. He was trying to, can I say, educate me about the things I've not seen, despite my many years.
In the finance bill, the Constitution.
That's right. Yeah, so there's a lot of intellectual stimulation and maybe elements of curiosity and adventure, in the struggle. So to that extent, I would say the intellectual element is covered.
Okay.
And then you come to relationships. Have you seen them, the way they hold each other?
Yeah.
The singing together, the way the new friendships across tribes, across religions, across social backgrounds. It doesn't matter what you studied at school. You all meet there as a team. You all brought together by a cause. At the university we used to call ourselves comrades. I could call them comrades. You can see the spirit of comradeship in this struggle. So I think in terms of intensifying social connections, social relationships, they are there.
That could go even for a lifetime.
Yeah, people can make friends there which last forever. Maybe some of them met and got married out of it.
Yeah.
So
there's that conversation too.
Yeah, we don't want to
of young people meeting in the streets.
So we don't need to trivialize it.
Yeah.
But elements of social connections do definitely arise, and not just the struggle. You look at the Cuban. The Cuban struggle. Fidel Castro and Chavez were out there in Sarmastra for many years. Very deep, lifelong friendships were made in the struggle. Some even got married, got children, even there in the forests. And so I think a struggle brings people together. And you see the Maasai, the Mau Maus in Kenya. They're saying if there was no food, they would share one bean. They would break a bean and share between
themselves.
Two of them.
Yeah. And
even now when they are conned out, you can see, even people who never met in the forest, they are brought together by that cause. The fact that they were all almost fighting for independence. Make your brother or a sister. So I think that the struggle against the finance bill has brought our youth together and promoted very deep, intense relationships among each other.
Okay.
So I think the relation of well-being can easily be seen. As for the emotional, I think it has also come out very, very powerfully. First of all, emotions are not only the painful ones. Even pleasurable emotions have been there. When they are mobilizing each other, when they are meeting there before the police come, surely there's a lot of excitement, joy, and pleasurable emotions. But like now when they have managed to get into parliament, MPs are running away. So that's also pleasurable. But it gets very, very painful when the tear gas canisters land on you, when you inhale the smoke, when you are washed with that acid water, rubber bullets, sometimes you are shot. Gets very painful. So, very painful emotions, suffering, is also present there. And then you've seen it spews back to families. Those who have come to look for their loved ones in the mortuaries, in the hospitals. There's an outpouring of grief in the society. And even that also brings people together. When you are crying, when you are sorrowful, when you grieve, and you grieve together, the burden becomes lighter. Yeah, so we say, whatever you're doing, we give each other permission to be human. We allow ourselves to cry. And it is part of human nature. And I see a lot of that here. So they say happiness is not permanent, it's not continuous. It is constantly interrupted by sorrow, by sadness, anxiety, and such. And I can also see that in this particular situation.
Okay.
So the hope is that this is short term, and it's temporary. We are going to come out of it, and finally, the society will be happier out of this.
Out of the results that we'll get.
Yes.
Maybe final message to Kenyans now that are thinking, maybe the regime will not change, maybe nothing will change, maybe we'll have to live like this for a long time. Will we ever be happier, even despite, like, will we ever be satisfied through the struggle?
I think our psychological state as we go through the struggle is very, very important. Some people can give up, be saddened, and be chronically stressed. But it is the hope which keeps people alive and waiting for the better. I've had analysis. You know, there is that theory that every revolution is betrayed. And indeed, what we have in Kenya is not new. It's similar to the Arab Springs that happened in Tunisia, Egypt, recently in Sudan. And the stories there have not been finally very good. Yeah, the revolution, Nigerian by intellectuals, manages to remove the old order or to change it, but that is not able to sustain. Sometimes we get worse results in the end. Like now, you look at what happened in Sudan. Very exciting movement, supported by social media from all over the world, and we had a lot of hopes that once Bashir goes, then Sudan will be on a trajectory to democracy.
Yes.
But what have we got there? Indeed, it's not the traditional military which has taken over in Sudan. It is a kind of militia led by not very educated people. And in some aspects, they're even worse than Bashir. Egypt ended up in the hands of the military. And the story is common almost everywhere.
Yes.
I think what we need here in Kenya is to learn from that history. It is not enough just to remove an existing regime. Because usually the intellectuals have not organized themselves for power. They always assume there's somebody else in power who they are demanding things from. When that person goes, then there's a vacuum. There's nobody to grant these demands. And usually, because they're not organized, it's organized group like a military which take over. And they have their own agendas. And basically, they are even products of previous regimes. The ones who have removed Bashir now from prison and taken him to his home in courts in house arrest.
Yes.
The guy is having
Field day.
the 3 courses of his meals per day.
Yeah.
So I think we should not be carried away into that future. I think it's better, for us to try as much as possible to implement a reform of the current system, because we have a good constitution.
Yeah.
And then we prevent ourselves from slipping into that abyss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We keep the hope alive.
Yeah. So we can be better. We can get happiness, by pushing the reforms to the limits, but without destroying the basic structure of our democracy.
You've had it, you've had it, you've had it. It's all about happiness. You can't be happy in this struggle. Final word for Kenyans.
I think we have to thank the Gen Z. They say that people should not call them children. They should call them heroes. Because what they are saying is what many parents would have wanted to say, but they were afraid, they were cowardly. The children have come out, they are not afraid. And like what they are doing in the churches, returning the church to God, because it had been taken over by politicians. I think that's a very radical thing.
I didn't see it that way. That's what they have actually done.
They are returning the Church of Jesus Christ back to God. Because it had been hijacked. It was been just a political forum for people to sell their agendas, but also to clean money which had been stolen through corruption.
So we have to thank the Gen Zs.
I think the final message to thank them and encourage them.
Keep the hope alive. Happiness is there waiting. Happiness is there pursuing you. Pursue it, it will come. Thank you for tuning into this conversation of the Happiness Society of Kenya. You can become a member by registering at the link down below. Thank you so much for what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Gigi.
Okay.
Asante.
Very nice.